than 1 million people a year buy a gun in Texas and get the required background check, searching a person's criminal history, but not always their mental health record. Those are protected by federal privacy laws. In Texas, court-ordered commitments or guardianships must be reported. But according to Texas and federal law, information about a person's emergency mental health detentions or warrants, protective custody orders, or drug and alcohol rehab services cannot be made public for a background check.
Boy, that has got to change right now. This week, I have miffed a good number of gun owners who didn't for 1 second appreciate my suggestion for deeper, more intrusive mandatory background checks before purchasing a gun anywhere, anytime. Some also didn't sit too well with the idea of maybe having to wait a couple of weeks before actually being able to get your hands on a weapon, despite the fact this comes from someone who was raised around and taught a healthy respect for guns. You bet your bottom round of ammo I was accused of being a liberal idiot, hates the Constitution, and my favorite, a pinko commie. I haven't heard that one in years. The gun issue here in America is not a one-trick pony. The ridiculous and time-wasting proselytizing of presidential candidates and others who think they understand the problem is mind-numbing. It leaves the human brain in the same condition were it to have Kardashian DNA in it. I've already gone on record as a gun owner and one who is licensed to carry, not caring one bit how deep my background is dug into before I purchase. I, unlike so many others, have zero to hide and don't believe for a second that anything involving laws and common sense is created to take my guns away from me. And if I'm stupid enough to wave it around, play with it while torquing back a few cocktails, and don't properly train myself for its use, I don't deserve to own it. So at the risk of being called a pinko commie again, let's start with parental responsibility and pass laws that ensure the parent or guardian of every underage gun criminal will be held completely responsible for the actions of their child. You brought them into this world. You took responsibility. You share the dance card. The mother of the Oregon shooter, Laurel Harper, knew her son had a mental disorder, knew he liked to bang his head against the wall, had placed him in a psychiatric hospital when he missed treatments, knew full well this was a kid who could go off at any moment, yet she kept plenty of guns in her home and even warned how no one would be dropping by her home without acknowledgement, or in simpler words, anyone comes by my place, I'll be thrilled to whip out the Glock, AR, or AK-47 I have around and make sure you dance for your supper, mister. Here's a mother who was proud of keeping guns around a potential psychopath. And it's parents like these who have to be held completely responsible for the actions of their kid. You're proud of your walking DNA. Take the heat. They used to call this being an accomplice, I guess. Let's go another step. When applying for a gun permit or seeking to purchase one from any retail outlet, yes, gun shows too, a complete mental health workup in that background check. And let's not kid ourselves and say it would have made a difference in the case of Sandy Hook, Aurora, Virginia Tech, other shootings. But just the outside chance it might have made a difference, saved one life, means we have to address it. If you disagree, what are you scared of? This means we have to change a lot of laws, jump through a lot of hoops, won't happen overnight. And what we're talking about here won't completely solve it. But I believe those who want to be responsible gun owners should be granted a chance at the privilege of owning one. Hear that? Privilege. That has to deal with the coveted Second Amendment, and something I've always believed in, that the Constitution is a living, breathing document that needs to change with the times and the needs of the people lucky enough to live here. Our forefathers were not perfect. I'll wager they would be the first to admit it. So we'll also discuss this idea of privilege tomorrow, which means common sense and more name-calling from those who believe that's the way to make our country better. Because, hey, name-calling is so much easier than rational common sense discussion, right? That is telling it like it is. Rock on, true believers. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll get to that and a whole lot more tomorrow. Be sure to join us right back here on the fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hard Line.